The tale of the tape between the two champions, two undefeated champions, Julius Indongo.
ESPN Deportes. Supervisors at ringside for the WBC, Travis Ford. For the IBF, Lindsey Tucker. For the WBO, John Duggan. And for the WBA, Jose Oliver Gomez. The judges at ringside, Steve Weisfeld, Max DeLuca, and Zoltan Enyadi. At the sound of the bell, the man in charge, referee Jack Reese. And now, Lincoln, Nebraska, this is the main event of the evening. Two undefeated world champions. One goes home with all the belts, and one is gonna take an L tonight. Presenting first, fighting out of the blue corner, promoted in association with Matchroom Boxing, wearing blue with silver trim. He weighed in at an official 139 pounds. This perennial road warrior has yet to taste defeat as a pro with 22 victories. 12 of those victories coming by way of KO. Defending his WBA and IBF Junior Welterweight Championships. From Windhoek, Namibia, the Blue Machine, Julius Indongo. Across the ring in the red corner, wearing silver with white and blue trim, he weighed in at the 140-pound limit. Started from the bottom now. He enters the ring an undefeated world champion with 31 victories. 22 of those victories coming by way of KO. Universally recognized as pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. Defending his WBO and WBC Junior Welterweight titles. Born, bred, and rep in Omaha, Nebraska, Terrence "Bud" Crawford.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
still working with old school boxing talk. The review of Terrence Crawford, Julius Indongo. Sorry it took me so long. I've been working a lot, and wow, I know when I'm filming this is the weekend of the shit show. Mayweather McGregor is going on. Oh yeah, Mayweather's already stopped McGregor by this time this thing goes up. And Miguel Cotto won a meaningless belt, beating a welterweight in a fight that shouldn't have been sanctioned for a title. And he, whatever. Anyways, let's forget about the bullshit going on this weekend, and let's talk about what happened last weekend, which was a legitimate fight. In my opinion, the most legitimate fight of this year. And this is why, because it was for the undisputed championship. The problem with boxing is now we have these 4 sanctioning bodies. We have 4 different men claiming to be the world champion. And at least for now, in one division, we have one champion. That is Terrence Bud Crawford. Congratulations by virtue of 3rd round stoppage of the previously undefeated Julius Indongo. When you get 2 men that are the very best in their division, and they're both champions. The last time a fight like this in my memory, there might have been others, but as on the magnitude that means something, was September 16th, 1983. Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world. That was a big moment because we were going to see Sugar Ray Leonard, who had just avenged his loss to Roberto Duran and recaptured the title, and Thomas Hearns, the undefeated hitman Tommy Hearns, who destroyed Pepino Cuevas, who had made at least, I think, 10 to 12 defenses of the title before Tommy knocked him off. And Tommy made about 2 or 3 defenses going into this fight, but they were the 2 best men here. Tommy Hearns, the hitman, was feared. And a lot of people, didn't want Leonard to take this particular fight. And the two fighters fought. Leonard, of course, with the dramatic. If you haven't seen it, you should watch this fight. It was a great fight. The puncher becomes the boxer, and the boxer becomes the puncher. Great role reversal in that fight. Great fight. Of course, that's when boxing was great because, 14th round TKO win for Leonard. Spoiler, sorry. But it was a great fight, and we knew who the champion was. Middleweight division, Marvelous Marvin Hagler ruled the middleweight division. He was the middleweight champion. There was no dispute. It was Hagler. It was Hagler, and it was Hagler at middleweight, Leonard at welterweight. They were the 2 undisputed champions. And the weight class below them, 140 pounds, we had 2 champions. One was Saul Manby, who was the WBC champion, promoted by Don King. And the other was, in my opinion, the greatest 140-pound fighter ever, Aaron the Hawk Pryor, who was the WBA champion, who had pretty much cleaned out the division, couldn't get a fight with Manby because King was not putting Manby in there with a Pryor. Leonard wouldn't even fight Pryor. And people say, oh, Aaron Pryor turned in a Leonard fight. Yeah, because Sugar Ray Leonard and his team lowballed Aaron Pryor. See, a lot of times in boxing, ducking is not about... There's ways of ducking a fighter. In the words of Richard Schaefer, we can fight around you. Or in the way that Leonard used to do was that we just lowball you. We undervalue you. We give you money that you know you shouldn't take. We know you're worth more than that, but we're going to lowball you. We're going to make you an offer that we know you're going to refuse. So then we say, yeah, then you're going to refuse. And we say, yeah, we refuse that fight. The money wasn't right. And that was what happened with Aaron Pryor. The money was not right. He was lowballed by Duran. He was lowballed by Leonard. He beat Tommy Hearns in the amateur, so Manuel Stewart was never going to put Tommy Hearns anywhere near Aaron Pryor in the pros. Aaron Pryor was a very, very dangerous fighter, and the top dogs that time in that area knew it. But I digress. Let's get back to what we're talking about now. And this is Terrence Bud Crawford, undefeated champion, versus Julius Indongo, undefeated champion for the undisputed 140-pound championship. I personally thought this fight was going to go the distance and Crawford would win a decision. I thought, maybe I overestimated Indongo. I overrated him a little bit because Crawford destroyed this guy. Indongo was never in the fight, and Crawford stopped Indongo in the third round, dropped him in the second with a beautiful, beautiful body shot in the second, and followed up with the same shot again in the third to finish the fight. What we saw was a level in the Crawford and Indongo fight. What you saw was a certain thing called skill level and levels of skill. And we saw Terence Crawford is on one level and Julius Indongo, God bless him, is on another level. Not the level that Crawford's on. And it just goes to show you just how good Terence Crawford is. That Crawford is head and shoulders above everybody else at 140 pounds. Now, honestly, I think at 140 pounds, barring Terence Crawford, Julius Indongo would probably have run that division. And I think Indongo's skill set is good enough that at that weight class, he would have been champion for a long time. Crawford's skill set is so superior that he made the fight with Indongo look easy. Easy work. And it's not. And Indongo's not an easy guy to fight. He's not. He's not as easy. People that are seeing Indongo for the first time against Crawford are going to say, well, this guy's not that good. That's not the case. Terence Crawford is so good that he makes a good fighter look average. Special talent, Terence Crawford. Now, where do we go from here? Crawford destroys Indongo. He's the undisputed champion. Maybe the IBF has already started their shit saying that Sergey Lipinets deserves a shot, so he's got to fight Sergey Lipinets. So maybe that will be Crawford's one defense at 140 pounds. He'll come back this year and fight Sergey Lipinets. Now, the smart money, and this is what's being talked about because they want to put Crawford back in the ring, would be to have Terence Crawford go to Australia to be the co-main of the rematch of Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao. And to be because the simple fact is, a guy like Crawford, yeah, he's a star, he's a standalone guy. But when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Ayub Kaluli, Tommy Hearns defended his title against a guy named Baez on the undercard. Because they were building up to that eventual meeting. And nobody thought the less of Hearns because Hearns fought on Leonard's undercard. Because we all knew the next fight was going to be Leonard Hearns. But that's a way to build that fight. So the hope here is, if you get Terence Crawford against Lipinets, which is probably going to be his last fight at 140 anyways, he knocks off Lipinets, makes the IBF happy, and takes care of that mandatory. Excuse me. And the winner of Horn Pacquiao is set to fight Crawford. Now, in this case, I'm hoping it's Jeff Horn. For the simple fact that if Jeff Horn retains the title against Pacquiao, Terence Crawford goes to Australia, because Crawford's no stranger to traveling. He's traveled to Scotland to win his first championship against Ricky Burns, to win the WBO lightweight title. Traveled to Scotland, fought in Scotland, won to beat Ricky Burns, who Julius Indongo also beat at 140 pounds. And people say, well, Indongo beat Crawford. Indongo beat Ricky Burns easier than Crawford did. But again, when Crawford fought Indongo, it showed the level of skill progression of when the Terence Crawford that fought Ricky Burns for the WBO lightweight title and the Terence Crawford that fought Julius Indongo were two different Terence Crawford. A younger version of Terence Crawford was not just one matured mentally yet as a fighter or physically, and then the Terence Crawford that was eventually the 140-pound champion was two totally different fighters. Much better in that time span. But let's get back on track. Now, should they make this and put Terence Crawford on the undercard, Terence Crawford will go to Australia, defend his 140-pound title against Lipinets, which I figure is going to be it's easy work. Crawford should destroy this kid, make his one defense of the 140-pound title. No, he's not going to fight Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia, they're not going to make that fight yet. They're not going to make it at 140 pounds. The Crawford's moving. So anyways, now Terrence Crawford makes a defense. Now, we all know that Manny Pacquiao and his people have already said we are not fighting Terrence Crawford. It's just not happening. Freddie Roach has made it clear. Michael Kontz has made it clear. You know, that was one of the problems they had with HBO, because HBO wanted that fight. And Bob Arum wanted that fight, but Manny Pacquiao and his team were like, no, we're not fighting Terrence Crawford. Fuck that. We're not doing it. And they made it clear. So now the hope here is, honestly, the hope here is, as much as I felt, and a lot of people felt that Pacquiao won the first fight against Horn. I had it 115, 113 for Pacquiao. As much as many people thought Pacquiao won the first fight and didn't get the decision, and Manny Pacquiao was pretty damn good in rematches. He's, you know, never lost a rematch. Jeff Horn is a different animal. So Jeff Horn might be the kind of the guy, and that was also a younger Manny Pacquiao. So we don't know. I'm sorry, Manny Pacquiao did lose a rematch. Marquez, the final fight with Marquez starched him, and Marquez was like, that's Marquez's last fight because Marquez retired. His last fight was his starching of Pacquiao. No, I think he had a fight after that. Bottom line is, Marquez ended the trilogy with Pacquiao with the most decisive victory in that 4-fight trilogy because he KO'd Pacquiao. The first fight, which ruled a draw, you could have gave that to Marquez. The second fight and the third fight, both could have went to Marquez. But there was no question about the fourth fight. Marquez starched Pacquiao, and there you go. And Marquez like, now I'm done with this. So, we know where Marquez. We know what that is. So Pacquiao did lose a rematch. Okay, he lost to Marquez. Now with the Jeff Horn situation, most of us would be rooting for Jeff Horn because we know if Jeff Horn wins, that Jeff Horn will fight Terrence Crawford in Australia. And Crawford has no problem traveling. I think that would be a great fight. And Terrence Crawford is the goods. And Bob Arum has been hoarding that WBO title in his camp because, for this reason, he wants to be a power player, you know, and he realizes that one of the things that Michael Montaro keeps saying is, you know, and I don't know what Mike seems to keep forgetting, that Bob Arum and Al Heyman have a working relationship, and that if, like I said, if Bob Arum wanted to reach across the aisle to say, hey, Al, I want to make this fight, you know, can we make a fight? Al Heyman's like, yeah, sure, we can make the fight. But certain people in the boxing media seem to say, oh, he can't get a fight with the PBC guys, and that's bull. Al Heyman and PBC have been willing to work with anybody. Just these guys, Heyman has some of the best fighters in the world, and these guys, they're worried about their fighters. Arum shouldn't be worried about Crawford, because I think at 147, I give Crawford a shot against everybody. I think his two toughest fights at 147 are going to be Thurman and Spence, who I believe, when it's all is said and done, Earl Spence Jr. is probably going to be the next great welterweight champion that we have. I believe when all is said and done, if they don't duck him, and then Spence has, but Spence is special. Not saying that Crawford's not, but I think that Spence is going to be the next great welterweight champion, in my opinion. Now, get back to Thurman. Now Thurman, okay. Now get back to Crawford. Now Crawford, like I said, they're talking about it, not legitimately sure, but they're talking about Crawford possibly fighting this Lipinez kid on the Horn Pacquiao undercard in Australia, which would be a good thing because if ESPN wants ratings, Crawford did damn good ratings by himself, better than Vasily Lomachenko. And, you know, and this is what's funny about that. The Crawford Indongo fight was barely promoted by ESPN Top Rank. It was barely promoted. It was those of us diehard boxing fans that kept telling our friends and everybody, listen, hey, you got to see this fight. This is a meaningful fight. Probably the most meaningful fight of the year because it is for the undisputed championship. And those of us that were, you know, diehard boxing fans, that know the sport, that love the sport, were saying, you got to see this fight because this fight is the goods. This fight is for the undisputed championship. You got to see this fight. And there was some people in the diehard boxing fans that were really getting on their social medias and everything else saying, hey, guys, you got to watch this fight. And Terrence Crawford wind up doing great numbers. Probably they said the second best numbers, I guess second to Pacquiao Horn. Okay, great. But here's the thing. Vasily Lomachenko. People keep trying to hype this kid up, say he's the pound for pound the best fighter in the world. No. When you have 10 fights and you're 9-1 and you lost a fight and you have not avenged that loss, how the hell are you going to tell me you're better than Andre Ward, who cleaned out the super middleweight division in Super 6, beat then an undefeated, legitimate light heavyweight champion in Chad Dawson, destroyed Dawson. It was Dawson's claims. Dawson's the one that said, I can go down to 168. That's no problem. So Dawson went down there to face Ward for the 168-pound title and got his ass kicked. And was never the same after that. Andre Ward's resume blows away anything Lomachenko has done. Period. Outside of the amateurs. Now in the amateurs, Lomachenko has a very good resume. Very good resume in the amateurs. But in the pros, no. The best guy you fought was Orlando Salido, and you lost. That's it. That's the bottom line. The best guy you fought was Orlando Salido, and you lost. Yes, even though you were coming on late in the fight, the point of the matter is by the time you made your return, your comeback, you lost the fight. So you have a loss. Salido won the fight. And you haven't avenged that loss. And you're talking crap, you and your people talking shit like, oh, it don't matter. Let me tell you something about the greatest fighters in the world. Sugar Ray Leonard considered the greatest fighter of all time. Sugar Ray Robinson considered the greatest fighter of all time. His first loss at welterweight, his only loss at welterweight, was to Jake LaMotta. Sugar Ray Robinson moves up to middleweight, wins the middleweight championship from Jake LaMotta, avenged that loss, fights LaMotta 3 more times. 5-1. Robinson against LaMotta, 5-1, because he wanted to make damn sure that he avenged that loss. Any guy that beat Sugar Ray Robinson, got back in there, avenged the loss. Great fighters, great champions. Muhammad Ali, first loss of his professional career was to Joe Frazier. He and Frazier came in, undefeated heavyweights. His first loss was to Frazier. What did Ali do? Avenge the loss. To have a 12-round bout for the NEBF heavyweight title in Madison Square Garden. Ali won. Then he had the classic Thrill in Manila. Ken Norton lost. Ali lost to Ken Norton, got broken jaw. Ken Norton broke his jaw. Ali came back, avenged the loss, even though people felt the final 2 fights like Pacquiao, like the Pacquiao Marquez deal could have went to Norton and it could have went. But the point is, Ali got back in there, avenged the loss. Joe Louis, first loss of his professional career was to Max Smelling. Louis wins the heavyweight title. What's he do? Get back in there with Smelling, avenged the loss. You see, here's a pattern here. Sugar Ray Leonard, first loss of his professional career. Roberto Duran, what's Leonard do? Get back in there, avenge the loss. There's a pattern here. And this is what I'm trying to say. The great ones, you lose, we don't let that stand. We go back in there to avenge the loss. Lomachenko, you have not yet stepped up to give Salido the opportunity. You have not stepped up in there with Salido and said, I need to avenge this loss. No, you're moving on. Now the rumor is Lomachenko is going to fight, he's going to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux, which is a great fight. I like the fight. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, Rigondeaux's 122 pounds, moving up to 130, blah, blah, blah. No, fuck that. Guillermo Rigondeaux is one of the best fighters pound for pound in the world. And Guillermo Rigondeaux, let me tell you how Guillermo Rigondeaux, when you win a fight and it ruins your career. Guillermo Rigondeaux fought Nonito Donaire. Nonito Donaire was supposed to be Bob Arum's next Manny Pacquiao. It was a Filipino-American. Nonito Donaire was supposed to be the next big thing following Pacquiao for Top Rank. He got in there with Guillermo Rigondeaux, and Rigondeaux destroyed him. Totally took him to school. Outboxed him, outfought him, did whatever. Yes, Donaire scored the only knockdown, but the point is, that was probably the only round he won. Rigondeaux just made beating Donaire looked easy. And after that, Donaire went on a bit of a 2 or 3 fight losing streak after that, because now guys haven't figured out. The point of the matter is that fight pretty much ruined Ricky out because HBO hated him. Because the thing is, Donaire was the house fighter. He was the guy that HBO wanted because they was looking for their next Manny Pacquiao, their next Filipino cross superstar, and Rigondeaux destroyed all that by beating Donaire so easily. See, Rigondeaux was supposed to be just a another top level name at 122 pounds toward Donaire's rise to superstardom. Well, somebody forgot to tell Rigondeaux he was supposed to be just a name opponent because Rigondeaux tore that boy up. And HBO got pissed off about it, and they're still, and I mean, Jim Lampley is still, anytime I bring up Rigondeaux, he's still so bitter and sour about that. Bob Arum was bitter and sour about that, because, you know, and Rigondeaux in one win, totally got blackballed. The boxing pundits tried to blackball Guillermo Rigondeaux. Now, Lomachenko, now Rigondeaux is still undefeated, you know, and now Bob Arum says, you know what, I'm getting all this heat because, yeah, we paid Teddy Atlas to rank Rigondeaux to rank Lomachenko #1, and if you watch the rankings, his rankings after the fight, the Crawford and Indongo fight, he had Rigondeaux in his top 5 pound for pound, and the reason we know that because there was a Cuban flag there. What happened? They took Rigondeaux's name out and put in Earl Spence Jr.'s name. Why? Because once again, stupidly, they're trying to blackball Rigondeaux, which is stupid. Because you would want to give Rigondeaux that hype, to give Lomachenko the rub, as they say, as my wrestling friends would say, to make Lomachenko look legitimate. Wouldn't it be better to have Rigondeaux ranked in the top 5, so you can say, hey, two of the top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world fighting each other? But no, you tell Teddy, oh, move him out of the top 5. So by trying to screw Rigondeaux, you actually screw yourself. And here's another thing that you guys in Top Rank and a lot of you Lomachenko believers and all you Lomachenko, you know, hypers that might, and it's not like I don't like Lomachenko. I like Lomachenko. I'm just not the type of guy that says Lomachenko's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. The thing that a lot of you people have forgotten is that what happens is history repeats itself. And just like he did with Donaire, Lomachenko goes into MSG again to fight the house guy and embarrasses him. Have you guys thought about that? You haven't, because you're so sure, just like you were with Donaire, you're so sure that Lomachenko's going to beat Rigondeaux, that if Rigondeaux walks into Madison Square Garden December 9th and beats Lomachenko, most of you guys are going to act like this is the Great Depression again and start jumping out of windows, and y'all going to go crazy. That's how Top Rank and a lot of the boxing pundits do. They hype up this guy to be the greatest thing ever. Then when he fights somebody legitimate and he loses, they're like, they don't know what to do. And they try to punish the guy that won. Because, hey, this is the thing about boxing. Unlike the WWE, this is legitimate sports. And like legitimate, just like boxing, like football, on any given Saturday, one fighter can beat another fighter and upsets happen. And when you sit there and you disrespect a guy like Rigondeaux, you don't think that while he's training for this fight with Lomachenko, all of that is coming into his mind. He's getting himself in the best shape he can. Both these guys won 2 gold medals in the Olympics. Rigondeaux from the great Cuban system. If the Cubans don't do anything else well in the world, they create some of the best boxers. They have the best boxing machine in amateur boxing. And Rigondeaux, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 2-time. He probably would have won it 3 times, but he defected. The point of the matter, here's the thing, guys, and then he became a hell of a pro. Rigondeaux goes in December 9th and knocks off Lomachenko. You guys effectively could have killed Lomachenko's career. You could have. In boxing, there are no guarantees. One punch can end a fight. Two bad judges can totally score them. We've seen it happen time and time again. There are no guarantees. So where I think Top Rank and them are going wrong is you should have left Ricky Diao in that top 5. You should have paid Teddy Atlas to maybe rank a little higher, you know, and thusly, when that fight happens, it's a, you know, it gets the proper, because you're gonna promote the hell out of that, which you didn't do to Crawford, and he still did better numbers than Lomachenko. Why? Because people, boxing people, not the boxing media that are paid off to do their to promote who the top promoters. You know, Ring Magazine is owned by Golden Boys. You're gonna hype all the Golden Boy guys up, and being that they're not in a great relationship with PBS, they're gonna underplay the PBS guys. You know, and they work with Top Rank, so they're gonna hype up the Top Rank guys. You know, look, the boxing media is bought and paid for. They rank who those guys tell them to rank. Guys like me that have been boxing fans for over 30 years, man. This is my passion, man. I don't sit here and do this shit because I'm looking to get paid. I do this shit because I love this sport. This is my passion, man. And I love this. I do this because I love this. You know, and I'm a guy that will sit down and I will tell you the God's honest truth. A lot of times I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm going to tell you my opinion. And my opinion is more legitimate than theirs because nobody's paying me. I'm not getting paid to sway you one way or another. I'm going to give you my God's honest opinion. Like I said, I didn't do anything with the Mayweather-McGregor fight because I think it's a shit show. My thing is an exhibition. It shouldn't count as Mayweather's 50th win, no, but it will. You know, I think it's a disgrace. I think the next big fight after the Indongo Crawford fight is the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, which is Canelo Alvarez, who is the lineal middleweight championship. He's been holding that for hostage forever, against Gennady Golovkin, who's the unified middleweight champion. So that's the next big fight next to this. And then I'm hoping maybe we can get Golovkin, the winner of that, to turn around and fight Billy Joe Sanders to become undisputed. Maybe this Crawford and Indongo fight could have got the ball rolling because Andre Ward, who was talking about going up to cruiserweight to fight Bellows, has now thought about, you know what, maybe we need to make this Stevenson fight. Because he sees that the boxing fans want one champion and how important that is. So now Andre Ward, who was saying, Andre Ward was saying that Adonis Stevenson had his chance. He didn't want to fight Kovalev, blah, 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 yeah. Now, now Andre Ward is backing that bus up saying, wait a minute. This was a big deal here. The fans really want an undisputed champion. We need to go out there and get it. And I'm hoping that maybe who wins Canelo versus Triple G. I'm hoping that maybe Crawford and Indongo has inspired them to do the same thing, to inspire the winner of that fight, who will hold 3 titles, to say, hey, we need to go find Billy Joe Sanders and make him an offer. I don't care if we overpay him for it. We need to get his ass in the ring. We need to be undisputed. I'm hoping that whether it's Canelo or whether it's Triple G, that they will go and say, hey, we'll give him what he wants. Just let's get him in here and become undisputed. Because, whatever. Because we feel we can beat him. We'll make our money back on the next fight. Let's get the undisputed. I'm hoping Andre Ward. It looks like Andre Ward is leaning in the same direction. Because we all know Adonis Stevenson has been a bit of a bitch and a bit of a diva. So maybe Andre Ward is going to Rock Nation. Hey, call Al. Tell him we'll go to Canada to fight Stevenson. Tell him, give Stevenson what's the bigger part of the purse. Give it to him. Let's get his ass in the ring. Become undisputed. Which is something Andre Ward's never done. Andre Ward's been unified because he won the WBC and WBA titles in the tournament. Because the IBF champion and the WBO champion weren't in that tournament, in the Super 6 tournament. The only 2 champions that were in it was the WBC and the WBA. So he's been undisputed. He was unified at 168. And he was, the best guy there. But the WBO champion and the IBF champion were not in there. So he's never been undisputed. But this would be a chance here for Ward to see, look at this thing. Ward saying, yeah, I need to, just for my legacy. I can get to cruiserweight, but let me handle this here. Let's take care of this business with Stevenson. And he'll go to Rock Nation and go to Al and say, hey, whatever Stevenson wants, give it to him. He wants it in Canada, fine, we'll go to Canada. He wants the lion's share of the purse, fine, we'll give him the lion's share of the purse. Let's just get his ass in the ring. And then get him in there, and you take care of Stevenson. Now you're undisputed light heavyweight champion. You give yourself more options. You turn around and you have Sullivan Barrera fight the Rodriguez kid, who's the #1 contender for the WBC title. Put those two guys on your undercard. So Andre Ward comes out. He has one contender to one, #1, contender. He has, put those guys in there. Give those guys, Barrera, who you've already beaten, but he's gotten so much better, and this other kid, put them in there. Make the Stevenson fight. And I think that that's the way, from what I've been hearing, the way Andre Ward and his people are going, is we want to make this fight now. Because now Terrence Crawford has lit the fire under Andre Ward, that Andre Ward now wants to be undisputed. Jeff Horn has said from the beginning, give Jeff Horn credit. I don't think he could do it, but I give Jeff Horn credit for coming out of his mouth saying, I want to fight Earl Spence Jr. Jeff Horn is the only fighter at 147 that's been calling out Earl Spence Jr. He beats Pacquiao, he calls out Earl Spence Jr. Where everybody else is tiptoeing around Mr. Spence. Jeff Horn's like, and Jeff Horn has no shot at beating Spence. But Jeff Horn said, I'll fight Spence. I want to fight Spence. I want to fight Mayweather. I want to fight, because Jeff Horn's like, I think Jeff Horn's looking to get paid, one, with Mayweather, but he's also looking to prove himself against the best, against Spence. Now, I don't think either fight's going to happen, but the fact that what impressed me with Jeff Horn was the fact he called it Earl Spence Jr., because everybody's going to call it Mayweather. Now, we need undisputed, and I'm hoping that this thing with Mr. Crawford has sparked a lot of these guys to stop being bitches and start saying, hey, I want to be the man in my weight class. We have at 154, we have Erickson Lubin, Jamel Charlo, Laura, and now we have Cotto. We already know the diva named Miguel Cotto is not going to fight any of those young lions. He's just not. And that's why I felt the WBO giving Cotto his fight with Kamagai was just shitty, it was just shit. Maybe if Conor McGregor decides he's going to stay a professional boxer, which is rumored he may, then maybe Conor McGregor could win the title, because he might be able to get, no, he's not beating Cotto. Fuck it. No, he's not. Sorry about that, folks. Moment of craziness there. I get stupid. I had a long day of work, and the point is, we're not going to get a unified 154-pound champion we're not going to get a unified champion at 154 as long as Cotto's holding that belt, because Miguel Cotto is a diva. The last time Miguel Cotto fought a quality 154-pounder was Austin Trout, and he got embarrassed in the Garden. His only loss in Madison Square Garden, Austin Trout took him to school. So Cotto's not going to go anywhere near Charlo, Laura, not getting anywhere near those guys, because those guys, no. Laura has enough business of his own, because there's Bubu Andrade, who is the WBA regular champion, is supposed to fight Laura, and Laura's been calling people out, so Laura needs to stop calling people out and actually get in the ring with people. Laura's been calling everybody out, and he hasn't been fighting anybody. Now he's starting to fight some young kid because he was on the Olympics. He was on the Olympic team. Laura's a gold medalist, please. You should be fighting Bubu Andrade. Another topic, I'm going to take my time here, because this is going to be a little bit of a long rant type video. Praise to Terrence Crawford, but it's going to be a little bit of a rant video. One of the things I see happening in box that's disgusted me, and really has disgusted me, and it's disgusting a lot of people, is it happened again for the shit show. Tank Davis loses his title on the scales. This is fucking ridiculous, man. When Roberto Duran, the greatest lightweight champion of all time, was struggling, and I mean, Duran would go out after between fights, Duran would bloom up to like 180, 190 pounds. But Duran made 11 defenses of that title, and you know what? When he left the division, he vacated the belt. He didn't lose his fucking belt on the scales. He didn't lose his belt to scales. Duran busted his ass coming in from 180, 190 pounds all the way down to 135. And Duran made it. And he was drained. And let me tell you something. People that say, oh, well, that was done, blah, blah, blah. Those guys had it tougher. One, they had to go 15 rounds. Two, they had day of the fight weigh-ins. Not day before like these guys. Day of the fight. The day of the fight, you had to weigh in. I've seen so many fighters. I remember watching a fight on CBS with Eusebio Pedroza was defending his title against Juan Laporte. And they didn't think, and Pedroza came in heavy. He came in like maybe a pound and a half heavy. And they were like, well, and CBS would show that finally Pedroza came in and made the weight. Came in at 126 and a half. Came in at 125 and a half. You know, how he had it, and he was drained. That was the day up. They didn't have all that time to rehydrate. Sometimes these guys were just making it. They made the weight just hours before you stepped to go in the ring. But they made the weight. They put the commitment in there to make the weight because winning that championship meant something to him and retaining it. If you're going to take my title that I worked hard to get, you're not going to get it on the fucking scales. Those guys had the dedication to make weight. Today's fighters, from that idiot Adrian Broner to now this Tank Davis kid, to a lot of these guys are losing belts on the scale. They don't have the dedication. They only have to fight 12 rounds, and and there's 20 million weight classes, and these guys can't make weight in any of them. I will give Badu Jack credit. I'm glad that he won his version of the light heavyweight title, WBA regular title. But I will give Badu Jack credit for this. Everybody knew Badu Jack was struggling to make 168. They knew it. Badu Jack made 168, fought James DeGale, got a draw in a fight. He should have got the decision. He should have won. But he got a draw. And then afterwards, Badu Jack vacated the 168-pound title. He didn't lose it on the scale. He busted his ass. He did his job to make weight, to defend that title. And then after that defense, he said, well, we're not doing this again. And I vacated the title. There are not a lot of guys with Badu Jack's dedication in today's boxing. Tank Davis, who's been billed. First of all, let's get back. Let me tell you about Tank Davis. This is another Mayweather prodigy. And Mayweather, you might have been a good fighter, but you sure as hell suck as a promoter, and you sure as hell suck at picking talent. These guys have no dedication. And this is what's shocking, because Floyd himself never lost a fight on never lost a title on the scale. Floyd never lost a title at all. Floyd, in my opinion, is the greatest 130-pound fighter ever. At 130 pounds, you take the history of everybody's fought at 130 pounds, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion, beats anybody at 130 pounds. Floyd Mayweather was so dominant at 130 when they had the when Popo Freitas and Joel Casamayor, they went to Showtime to get away from Mayweather. They made sure that Showtime and HBO had no working agreement. They wanted no part of fighting Floyd Mayweather at 130 pounds. The IBF did the biggest shit job of all when they stripped. Floyd should have been a unified champion at 130, but the IBF decided to strip Diego Corrales of the belt ahead of his fight with Mayweather. And they gave it to Stevie Forbes. And did you ever see Stevie Forbes saying, hey, I'll fight Mayweather? Hell no. Stevie Forbes took that little belt and ran until he lost it. At 130 pounds, no one was willing to fight Floyd Mayweather. Pretty Boy Floyd, those motherfuckers were happy when he left. They were happy as hell when he left. Freitas and Casamayor were busy. They took those belts. They were happy. Everybody at 130 was happy when Floyd left, because nobody at 130 wanted to face Floyd. And Floyd would have killed Freitas. He'd have killed Casamayor. He'd have killed he'd have killed Forbes. These guys know they had no chance to get Floyd at 130. And the only way they were going to make money was to, fight amongst themselves. After Floyd destroyed Diego Corrales, who was thought to be the destroyer at that weight class, and Floyd made that look easy, Freitas, Casamayor, for everybody else at 130 said, yeah, we're staying the fuck away from him. We'll leave him alone. Yeah, this is go over here. And that's one of the main reasons Floyd left, because nobody was going to fight him at 130. So he went to 135. And give the devil his due. Floyd didn't go to 135 and say, who's the easiest champion to fight here? You know, because at 135, when Floyd got there, Shane Mosley was the IBF champion. Jose Luis Castillo, who had just beaten Stevie Johnson, who was a beast at 135. And the WBA champion was Holiday, I think. Holiday or Mitchell. Doesn't matter, you know. The point of the matter is, if Mayweather went there, he said, give me Castillo. He had 2 struggling fights with Castillo. When Mayweather was going to fight, when Mayweather and company reached out to Mosley for the fight, Mosley got a better offer to go up and wait and fight De La Hoya. So Mosley, shit, make this money. And he did, which he should have done. You get the chance to make that money, you go up and make that money. Wasn't that Mosley was afraid of Mayweather. It was just a business decision that, you know, when Floyd said, let's unify, Shane Mosley was like, I'm going up to fight Oscar. So Floyd knew at that point in time there was no sense sticking around 135 because there was no real competition. So Floyd started making his way to 140. And here's the thing people seem to forget, that Floyd was calling out the 140-pound champion Costa Tszyu when he was at 130. When he beat, you know, and Larry Merchant, for all of his, you know, dislike of Floyd, after Floyd destroyed Diego Corrales, there's an interview, if you listen to the interview with Floyd afterwards, Floyd says, I want Costa Tszyu, and Floyd's at 130, Costa Tszyu's at 140, and Larry Merchant said, you're not getting that fight. Larry Merchant told him, those guys aren't fighting you. So, I mean, but the thing about it was Floyd's dedication, before he became money, Pretty Boy Floyd, dedicated fighter. Now, today's fighters, it seems that today's fighters are too busy. I don't know what the fuck they want to be. They don't have dedication, man. They don't. I mean, I'm very disappointed in Tank Davis. I knew Tank Davis was scared of fighting Lomachenko, and rightfully so. Tank Davis, oh, you know, Tank Davis, he couldn't beat Lomachenko. You know, Tank Davis won an IBF title. He's probably I hate to say this, probably one of the weaker champions at that. He was one of the weaker champions at that weight class. And that's just being truthful to you, because Lomachenko's a WBO champion. The IBF champion is a strong guy. The BC champion is a pretty strong guy. And you got Tank Davis, who's probably the most unexperienced of the 3. You know, and he's still pretty much a prospect, which is another problem with boxing. You got these prospects winning belts and, you know, putting themselves in line for fights they're not ready for. That's the problem with having 4 champions. Just 2 guys win championships that aren't ready to be champions. They're just not. So now we don't have to worry about Tank Davis because he ate his way out of the division. So now what are we going to do? Is Tank Davis going to now, okay, I guess now Tank Davis is going to move himself to lightweight to fight Robert Easter Jr. Because I don't see Tank Davis rushed in to fight Mikey Garcia, Mikey Garcia is supposed to fight the WBA and lineal WBC champion, Jorge Linares. So, unless Tank Davis is going to go fight the WBO champion, it looks like the only guy who's going to fight there would be Robert Easter Jr. And I guess they'll wait for Lomachenko to reach them at 135. You know, I guess after Lomachenko's fight with Rigondeaux, I guess he's going to go to 135 too. Which I hope these guys stick around at 135, because 135 hasn't had a dominant champion since Duran. But there was a time that even they didn't have a dominant champion, 135 was hot. You had Hilmer Kenty there, you had Sean O'Grady, you had Alexis Arguello. 135 at one point, even though they had a bunch of champions, was a hot division. That was a hot division at one point. They had a lot of action going on 135. I'd like to see that a gunner. I'd like to see someone step up to the plate, unify the lightweight title, and try to break Duran's record of 11 defenses. I don't think it'll happen, because I don't think today's fighters have that kind of dedication of being the very best in their weight class, of proving it, of cleaning out a weight class, saying, you know, Terrence Crawford did it. He's the undisputed champion, but Terrence Crawford along the way has pretty much beaten the best guys at 140. So, like I said, he'll fight this kid Lipinez on his way out the door, go to 147, and we'll see what happens there. You know, bigger neighborhood, you know, bigger problems. There's a lot of things, you know, a lot of kids. One of the people that follow me, young lady named Anna Torres, her son's an amateur boxer, and a very good one. I believe he's a lightweight, and she was talking about, you know, the struggles of making weight. She said, you know, he's maybe 5 pounds over. She said, but he'll make weight. He'll get there. And that's good, because I'm sort of her son. I've seen some of the clips she's put up on Facebook about her son. He's very good. But I hope he remembers, whatever weight class you're in, if you can't, when you get to the point where you're killing yourself to make weight, move up. But if that's what, if you're killing yourself. But a lot of these fighters are too damn lazy. Boxing is a sport. Boxing is a jealous mistress. And she's a mistress that demands a lot of you. Fighters need to remember this, young fighters. There's the warrior's lifestyle. You have to live the warrior's lifestyle, which means even when you're not fighting, you have to keep your body in pristine and prime condition, especially as an amateur. Because the amateurs, tournaments pop up. You might, because sometimes the fighters become alternates. And there might be a guy that's ranked above you, but guess what? The guy ranked above you, something happens. He can't fight. And here you are, the alternate. And you have to step in at a moment's notice in this tournament. You know, and usually the thing about the amateurs is the tournaments are maybe 2, 3, 4 fights in a night. So you have to keep yourself in shape, which means you have to keep yourself in shape outside of competition. Young warriors, remember this. You chose a lifestyle that is not for everybody. Not everybody can be a fighter. Not everybody's meant, but if you choose this lifestyle and you're good enough to live this lifestyle, we'll know. You'll know soon enough if it's for you, because by about your 10th, 11th amateur fight, you pretty much know if this is the direction you're going to go in. And you'll know. And if you know it's for you, then now you have a dedication. You've made this pact with every warrior that's come before you. Keep yourself in shape. Live the warrior lifestyle. Keep your body. Don't keep yourself. Whatever your fighting weight is, don't gain more than 10 pounds between fights. That way it makes the weight cut a little easier. But it takes dedication on your part, both in and out of the ring, to keep your body, because your body is your meal ticket. Your body is what you do. Your hands, right here, these babies here, and this is what you do. You keep your body at the weight. Don't gain more than 10 pounds between fights. Don't smoke. Don't drink. Don't mean you can't go out and dance and whatever. Live the warrior lifestyle. Keep yourself in shape. Stay in the gym. Stay in the gym constantly. Watch footage of older fighters and practice some of the things. Get some film of guys like Archie Moore, Sugar Ray Robinson, Charles Burley, Ali, Joe Louis. Get some film, Hagler, Leonard, get Duran. Get some film of the old greats. Study some of Duran's body punching techniques. Joe Louis's 2-inch hook. Archie Moore's defensive ability. Sugar Ray Robinson's ability to make a guy miss, make a guy pay. There's so many great. James Toney was another guy. Watch him, old Tony. How Tony was a defensive master and offensive master. You watch some of the great fighters of the past and practice some of their stuff to incorporate that into what you do. Borrow something from this guy. Borrow something from that guy. Practice that stuff in the gym. Why? Because that makes you a better fighter. Boxing is not always about what you do here, but boxing is also about what you do here. High ring IQ is what I keep preaching to fighters. It's what separates the good fighters from the great fighters. The great fighters have studied the greats and can pull out something that they don't do all the time, but it's something that they have in their back pocket that they've mastered in sparring, in the gym, working on. They've mastered this. So at just the right moment of a fight, boom, they can pull it out. Terrence Crawford is a high IQ because you just seen the body. Terrence Crawford's not known as a big body puncher, but you've seen that hook to the body. And the placement of that shot, that's something that Crawford had in his back pocket. That he knew against this guy, I can pull this off. That he studied this guy. He studied the greats. He knew, oh, I get this hook from so-and-so. You know, and I pull it, and he pulled it out. And Indongo and his people weren't thinking about Crawford being a big body puncher. They weren't. And they were shocked by it. Indongo was shocked by it. And so where Crawford landed those shots, the final shot, he landed it. And it knocked the wind out of Indongo. By the time Indongo got up, the count was over. These are things that you don't see. If you looked at Crawford's body of work, you didn't see that kind of body punching early on. What you see is the great fighters they don't show you everything they have. They show you what they have. They fight each fighter according to what they need to do against that particular fighter. And if you sit there and you sit there and you say, well, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. You don't know that, because the great ones will never show you everything they have in their repertoire, and they're always adding to their repertoire. Young fighters, amateurs, add to your repertoire. Add to your repertoire. Watch the old pros. Study the old pros. Practice some of those things. Offensive, defensive techniques and tactics. Always add something different to your game. Because the higher your IQ in the ring gets, the better you're going to get. And what you're going to find out is, you look at guys like Mayweather, you look at guys like Ward, you look at guys like Crawford, how you can take a good fighter and make him look average. Guillermo Rigondeaux made again, we'll go back to Rigondeaux Donaire. Donaire was thought to be a good fighter. Guillermo Rigondeaux made him look average. Because Rigondeaux had enough high ring IQ to know what he can do against this guy and other stuff that he'd done, that he said, oh, okay. Once he figured the guy out, he said, okay. And he knew what to do with him. And he made a good fighter look average. And for you young fighters in the amateurs especially, because you're fighting the best guys in your weight class. You're not doing like in pro boxing where this guy's here, this guy's, I'm fighting, guys lower than me. No, you're fighting guys that are either here and you're here, or you're here and they're here. You're fighting the best guys in your weight class all the time, so you really need to be on your beam. And that's why a lot of the best amateurs turn out to be the best pros, because your high ring IQ develops in the amateurs. But your dedication should also develop in the amateurs. So, to all you young amateurs out there, study the greats. Stay away from the BS, Understand what you're there for. You're a warrior. You're a warrior. If you want to be a commie celebrity like Adrian Broner, just get out. If you want to be a warrior like Duran, then keep coming and improve your in-ring IQ. Boxing, those are about, we want our warriors. We want those guys that live the warrior lifestyle, that will go in there, will fight anybody, and will give us our money's worth. And I don't give a fuck how much money you ask for. God damn it, I don't care. What I care about is when you're here, and there's a guy here, but yet you won't fight the guy here, but you'll fight the guy down here. That's what I worry about. That's what pisses me off. The best need to fight the best. Always want to be the best in your weight class. Just like in the amateurs, you have one champion, one guy gets a gold medal in the amateurs. One guy. You don't get 4 guys getting a gold medal in one weight class. One guy per weight class gets a gold medal. Terrence Crawford brought that home. At 140, he's the only guy with the gold. That's the way it should be. This is Doug Wilkerson. Until next time, signing off. Be safe.